Federal judge hearing Oregon's case against the administration, a high-stakes fight over who controls the National Guard. The president claims he's acting to protect public safety, but Oregon's attorney general says the move is unlawful and dangerous. Joel Jones live here at noon at the federal courthouse, tracking the latest on this front. Joel?
Yes, Todd, court concluded just minutes ago, and so far no decision on that temporary restraining order. Judge Karen Immergut, who just received the case yesterday, said she needs a little bit more time, but plans to have a decision potentially later today. But there's a lot of public interest in this case. In fact, we were in an overflow waiting room. You can see all these people behind me. We heard the oral arguments. The White House arguing the protests outside the ICE facility have led to violence and impacted the work of federal officers. That's as the state and city argue unrest has been minimal, and most violent events cited by the administration to launch this order took place 90 days ago. No cameras were allowed inside the courtroom, but I spoke to Attorney General Dan Rayfield ahead of the arguments. Here's what he had to say.
The last thing that we need to do is normalize the use of the United States military in our cities. That is a dangerous road to go down.
This is not a war zone. This is our home.
Protesters flock outside the federal courthouse in Portland as oral arguments begin in the legal battle, Oregon versus Trump. On Saturday, the president announced plans to bring troops to Portland in full force, prompting Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to issue a memo deploying 200 state National Guardsmen to protect federal property, pointing to protests outside Portland's ICE facility. That happened just the next day. Now, in response, Attorney General Dan Rayfield, Governor Tina Kotek, and Portland Mayor Keith Wilson filed a temporary restraining order Monday to block the deployment. Under Title 10, the president can nationalize the Guard if there's a foreign invasion, a rebellion, or if federal law can't be enforced. But the state argued today those standards don't match the facts on the ground here in Portland.
We are not a war-torn community. In fact, by bringing in and federalizing the National Guard or using the U.S. military in our cities, there's economic harm. It leads to increased protests. And what we want to do is actually use real facts and talk about what's really going on in Portland and not base our opinions and perpetuate false narratives.
Now, we plan to have much more on the arguments today, including some of the rebuttals from both the White House and the state, as well as the city, that is. We're also expecting some of the attorneys to come out and speak to media. That's why everyone's flocked here behind me. We'll bring you any updates, including a potential decision on that temporary restraining order later in our coverage. For now, live in downtown Portland, I'm Joel Jones, KOIN 6 News.
All right, Joel, we'll check in with you in a bit.